Good evening, I'm Amber Marie Noggle. We begin tonight with the files dumped on a Bronx street. They were records from a doctor's office full of personal information trashed on the sidewalk for all to see.
The group still has a couple of volunteers helping out in Haiti, and they hope to bring yet another group to this airport to send off in what they're calling One Life mission. Reporting from LaGuardia Airport, Amber Marie Noggle, News 12, The Bronx.
I'm Amber Marie Noggle here at the St. Teresa Feast. We've got food and lots of it, rides and games, an annual party here in the Bronx, and tonight we're taking you to it. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Just when you thought the deal was completely dead, Mayor Bloomberg vetoes the City Council vote on the Kingsbridge Armory. This is the kind of place the injections were given. This is where many clients were brought, a hotel room with no medical equipment, only a massage table. Good evening, I'm Amber Marie Noggle. We begin tonight with the earthquake in Haiti. The capital city of Port-au-Prince now filled with death and destruction as aftershocks still rattle the city. Homes, buildings, hospitals, and schools all destroyed by the earthquake. And many of you may be wondering what assistance you can give to earthquake victims in Haiti. Well, Mayor Bloomberg says help is desperately needed and money is the key. News 12's Nicole Ryan reports. In other news we're following tonight, it was chaos and commotion at one Bronx high school after a fight broke out inside the cafeteria, sending both students and school safety officers to the hospital. Ray Mundy is there with that story. Police say they are investigating what sparked the violence. Stay with News 12 as we continue to follow these latest developments. Well, we are still dealing with these cold conditions in the Bronx. Stacey Ann Gooden is here to tell us what tonight looks like in that hyperlocal forecast. Stacey Ann? All right, thank you, Stacey Ann. A Bronx bakery that's been in our borough for decades is closing down. We'll tell you why and what will happen to all 200 workers. Pedro Espada Jr. on the hot seat tonight from the State Attorney General's office. News 12's Matt Piper now with more on the Espada probe. The Young Democrats of Manhattan say they are still selling these shirts and may start handing them around the borough for free when election time rolls around. A car crash involving an accessorized vehicle sends the driver straight to the hospital. Our cameras on scene caught the aftermath of the accident. A manufacturing plant that makes baked goods is leaving the Bronx for North Carolina, meaning around 200 employees will lose their jobs. According to the workers' union, the union says the company is allowing employees to apply to positions in North Carolina, but they're not relocating them. I'm Amber Marie Noggle. A Bronx school is getting kicked out of their building. Later, which one and why? But first, here's Stacey Ann Gooden with a quick check of our hyperlocal forecast. Stacey Ann. A big move for a big school. Over 400 students at the University Heights Secondary School are losing their building on the campus of Bronx Community College. Now the community is fighting to find a new home for those students. News 12's Molly Rokesy reports in this story you'll only see on 12. A spokesperson for Bronx Community College says that no move will happen until the end of this school year. We reached out to the Department of Education for comment. We are waiting to hear back. I'm Amber Marie Noggle. It's a mold emergency for the classrooms at PS 106. Parents protest the Department of Education saying they want their children out. We're back in 2 minutes.
Hey Kev, a little bit of rain never hurt anybody, right? We're still having such a great time here on the road at the Feast of St. Teresa. We've got the food, we've got the games, the rides we're waiting on because this rain's coming down pretty hard at the moment, but you better believe once those rides open up, I will be on them. You know, for 13 years, Bronxites have been heading down here to celebrate at the Feast, and usually you'd see hundreds of people walking behind me. Not so much tonight because it is a little wet out there.
Deep in a coma, this 27-year-old Bronx mother was depending on machines to help her heartbeat, to give her breath. Melissa Lyseth ended up in this hospital bed because an illegally performed cosmetic procedure put her there. Day after day, her family and friends were at her bedside, documenting her struggle with this video diary.
The doctor came today and said that things were real bad. You know, and your blood pressure went down, and I guess you must have flatlined again.
But then, amazingly, Melissa woke up after more than 2 months in a coma.
God said it wasn't my time. So, yeah.
I woke up 2.5 months later. Halloween I went by, Thanksgiving I went by, you know. I remember waking up looking like a skeleton. I had went in there weighing like 160, and when I got up, I was like 95 pounds.
A drastic change from this bright, beautiful woman to a nearly skeletal figure, her bones protruding through her thinning skin, her eyes sunken and dark. That's when Melissa's long road to recovery began. She spent another month recuperating in that hospital bed, then went through surgery to help her walk normally again. And even when she came back here to her Bronx home, every day was a struggle.
I had to have people help me shower and use the bathroom and dress me, and I even still have moments of depression and just saying, why does this have to happen to me? My daughter, she kept me going a lot. She was very strong through all this. She was very strong.
Well, I was so happy because I knew that what God had done was a miracle.
More than a year later, it is still a battle to feel some sense of normalcy. But Melissa's slowly getting back into it, finally able to pick up her daughter from school. Practicing her faith, which she says kept her alive. And now, planning a wedding. Each picture tells a story of orphans they wrapped their arms around and survivors they pulled from the rubble. Memories they bring back home to the Bronx. 4 volunteers from the Infinity New York Church returned from a 10-day disaster relief mission in Haiti, a mission that changed their lives.
The people of Haiti gave me so much hope. The kids, wow.
Hope that stands with images like this they found throughout the destroyed city and children who touched their lives.
The boy had been buried in the rubble of his house when it collapsed, and his father and 2 friends with their bare hands had dug that little boy out of the rubble of their house. And he's just an absolutely beautiful little miracle of a child.
This is video taken while the team was in Haiti. The volunteers handed out supplies, fed the hungry, and transported the injured to hospitals.
When the needs were great, if arms were cut off, or heads were split, or a wound was too big, we would throw them in the van. We had 18 people in a minivan driving them to a hospital.
They saved those people's lives, and now the volunteers return home to their own families with an experience they'll share with their children and a message they'll send to the community. The group still has a couple of volunteers helping out in Haiti, and they hope to bring yet another group to this airport to send off in what they're calling One Life Mission. Reporting from LaGuardia Airport, Amber Marie Noggle, News 12, The Bronx. Omar Edwards, an officer gunned down by a fellow cop. He's the reason a task force was created to investigate why police are pointing their guns at their colleagues.
They're both saying in their head, I'm a police officer and I have this weapon. And one person says, I demand that you put down the weapon. The police officers don't put down weapons. They just don't.
Community advocates like Vince Warren spoke out at a public hearing in Manhattan Thursday, telling this panel what could have possibly provoked mistakes like the one that took the life of Edwards.
Police don't listen to civilians when they are operating on that high adrenaline. I'm going to take this person down. They're going to talk to me with respect.
And not only did the task force find these cases of mistaken identity to be a problem, but they've also found racial disparities when it comes to the shootings.
While few and far between, are directly connected to a much wider and pervasive phenomenon. The negative, problematic, brutal, and at times fatal interactions between police and what is almost always black and male citizens of our city.
This is the second public hearing. A third will be held Friday in White Plains. Now, based on what the task force gathers from these public hearings, they'll release a series of recommendations in March on how to keep our borough's officers safe. Reporting from Manhattan, I'm Amber Marie Noggle, News 12.